Have you ever thought about quitting?
Yes.
How many times?
Oh, I can't even count.
Oh my God.
The one time I happened to text my husband and I was having an off day.
This is like a nightmare.
Text him. I feel like I'm going to quit my job. Steve just happens to walk in to look at...
Everything's gonna be okay. Sorry. This is making me feel uncomfortable.
You are the master of having a vision to where you're going. And this is actually what brought me want to stay with you so long, is that you sold me the vision on where you were going. Yeah. And it made me work harder, knowing that one day I was gonna have a big role here. I was gonna I'd get paid well.
The thing too with having a vision as an entrepreneur is you're always stretching. Yeah, in the beginning, you need to stretch a little bit. Sell them the dream. Where are you going? Bring them on full time and then go to frickin' work. What's up, you guys? Welcome back to our YouTube channel. My name is Steve Holbrook, and today I think you guys are in for a super special treat. I have my assistant, Lexi, here with us.
That's me.
Her and I have been, what's that?
Did you forget?
I almost forgot. I almost forgot her name. Her and I have been working together now going on 10 years. How do you feel about that?
Feels long.
Feels long.
Just
it
kidding.
does feel long.
No, you know what? It has just flown by.
Yeah, it has flown by.
Like 9 years is just, I feel like I just blinked.
You ever look back on pictures and wonder where it went?
Yes, all the time. When I see pictures, I get emotional. I'm like, oh my gosh. Sometimes I see photos of like when we had just started working together and I'm like, we both look like kids.
Yeah.
So young.
We were babies. So I'm excited to have you here today, you guys, because we're going to talk about, administrators, hiring, when's a good time to have an assistant, what does that relationship look like? And we're going to talk a bit about our journey and really what it takes to win in business in general. So thanks for being here, Lex.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Can you believe that you made it 10 years with me?
No.
Yeah. Okay, we'll start off truth. Have you ever thought about quitting?
Yes.
How many times?
Oh, I can't even count.
Oh my God.
We were just talking about this. The one time I happened to text my husband and I was having an off day.
This is like a nightmare.
Having an off day. Text him. I feel like I'm going to quit my job. You just happen to walk in. You know when your phone like goes quiet but it doesn't lock and then someone answers a text so it brightens it back up?
Oh, I know. I witnessed it.
So Steve just happens to walk in to look at...
Everything's gonna be okay. Sorry. This is making me feel uncomfortable. I remember this moment. I have anxiety just hearing it over again.
To come in and ask me a question and see the phone light up and just look down because it lights up and it's like, I'm going to quit my job.
Yeah. I walked in and saw you text your husband, you're going to quit your job. How do you think it made me feel? You might as well have just been working for somebody else when I walked in. Would it have the same effect on me?
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah. So what my outcome for today is we want to give them value, talk about finding your person in business, finding an administrator, finding that kind of that ride or die that you can, build your company with. When's a good time to, hire somebody? What are some things to look for? And and then I want to share some stories if we're allowed to, if we don't get censored. Yeah.
We've got lots of stories.
Should we tell the Red Deer story?
I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see. You guys,
we'll see how
we'll see which stories we decide to tell, but why don't we start with finding your person, finding your administrator. When I hired you, I had been through a few before. Mm-hmm. We were just joking that sometimes you have to go through a few to find the one.
Yep.
How did we find you?
What was that experience like though? Before we get into mine.
What was the experience like? Well, I was just joking. Like sometimes you have to hire a heavy breather before you find the one. Yeah, I think everybody expects to find the perfect assistant, the perfect administrator, the person that's going to be with them forever. You and I, we're always mentoring people. They're like, I need to find the one right now. And I'm thinking, this is your first assistant.
Yeah.
Because it's not on them all the time. It was also on me. Like I had to grow. Mm-hmm. I needed to know what I was looking for. Mm-hmm. I needed to know what I wasn't looking for. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I went through a few. Yeah.
I just remember getting comments like over the years, like, oh, they definitely took them a little bit to find you. Thank goodness they did.
Yeah.
So many of our people have been in the business for so long and they've witnessed all of those, just like we do now when there's assistants getting hired on, like they're not always going to be forever, but it's interesting to see like what people are learning when they're hiring their assistants. And exactly like you said, they learn what they do want and what they don't want. And it's an interesting, experience.
Yeah, it was. I mean, why don't we actually, before we talk about finding the one, we'll talk about where you were at when you came into to my business.
So I was managing a hair salon for like over 5 years. And I remember specifically the day that I was standing at my front desk going, every single day is the same. It's always the same. I've gotten 5-star customer awards. Like there's no, where do I go from here? It just felt like there was no growing. I'm like, what am I going to do? I'm already managing. The next thing I can do is become a full-time hairstylist. But like these women aren't selling me the dream on being a hairstylist. They're exhausted. They're working late nights. Their bodies are falling apart on them. They're standing over 8 hours a day. I'm like, and they're not even getting paid well to do it. And on top of that, you're like a therapist. You're listening to people's problems all day because, you're connecting with your clients, but that's exhausting. So I was like, I need to find a new job. So I got on Kijiji, which at that time, that was like the place to go, right? Like
it was the spot.
There was no Indeed or anything like that.
Before it was just for serial killers.
Yeah.
Oh, that's Craigslist, right?
It's kind of the same thing. Yeah. It is the equivalent to Craigslist, I would say, just a little less crazy. So I went on there and I looked I'm like, I think I want an office style job, somewhere where I can dress up, somewhere where I can I don't know. I really didn't know what I was looking for. So I came across your guys' ad on Kijiji and I was like, oh, I remember it saying stuff like payroll, like doing payroll and paperwork. And I thought, I've never done any of these things, but I'm going to apply.
Fake it till you make it.
So I applied and I remember getting a call from Melissa. Well, actually, I had called Melissa. I think that was the one thing that...
Melissa's my wife, by the way. Yes. Many of you know that.
That's the one thing that kind of brought me out of the whole... There was 300 people that had applied because at that time, so many people needed work.
Like basically overnight.
Yeah. So I called Melissa and I remember her going, oh yeah. Okay, 1 second. And she's like running to find my resume because I'm like, did you get my resume? I'm like, she can hear my phone skills at that point because I was a receptionist. So she's like, let me go. Let me go get it. Hold on a second. And you can hear her printing it and like reviewing it. She's like, yeah. When can you come in to meet? So anyway, met with Melissa and she was like, oh my gosh. Like I could just tell she just like really liked me. So I remember getting a phone call the moment I pulled out of the parking lot. I had been driving like maybe a few minutes, like 3 minutes, I'm going to say. Melissa's like, hi, I'm sorry. I'm so excited. I want you to come in and meet my husband. I was like, okay, because I knew that I'd be working for you.
Yeah.
So then that came just a few days later. And I just remember seeing your guys' relationship. Like you were just killing me with the comments you were making. You were like, there's a lot of like men here, like A-type men. And I was like, okay. You're like, I just want to make sure you're going to be able to like...
Handle it.
I was like, okay. And Melissa's like, Steve, what are you saying right now? It was hilarious. Anyway, the rest was history. That was an interesting time because I went into a job that, not to mention, my dad was like, you're not going to get that job.
Oh, thanks, Dad. Super positive, Dad.
He's like, oh, that's nice, but you're probably not going to get it because you don't have any experience doing any of that. So don't get too excited. I was like, perfect. So I did go into a job with zero skills or knowledge of the business that you're in, right? Like I was super...
You know what's funny about that? And actually it's the first time I realized this, is that you were obviously managing a hair salon and you didn't really have, like you said, the skills to work in our business yet. I had been through a lot of assistants that I hired that had the skills to work in the business, but didn't have the people side. So it's so funny because I remember before we put the resume out, I told my wife, I said, we need to hire differently. We need to hire somebody for different reasons. So I think one of the reasons probably my wife was so excited about you is because you are different than all of the other people we thought we needed before. It's funny. You were looking for a change in direction. We were looking for a change in direction. And yeah, your resume, needle in a haystack, literally overnight, 300 people applied. But and I think there's a message there. It's, what kind of a person are you looking for? Like, what are the qualities that you value? Maybe the reason that you haven't found the one, and you're struggling to find someone you connect with, or someone who can really drive your business. Maybe you're struggling because you're putting value on the wrong qualities. It's not to say you didn't bring some basic business qualities, but I think the things that made you really special were different than the things that I thought I originally needed. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes total sense. When I did hiring at my hair salon, I was like, you can train somebody to do anything, but you cannot train someone a personality. You can't teach someone how to be. That person is that person, right? But you can train them to do paperwork. You can train them to say hello to someone when they walk in. All that stuff is whatever. Yeah. But that person is that person, right? Yeah. So I definitely got hired on my personality.
Yeah.
And that's what I teach. So that's funny.
Yeah, that's awesome. So let's talk about in business. You've been around now, you've been with me for almost 10 years. You've seen a lot of people rise up. When do you think it's a good time for somebody to find their Lexi, to find their person?
I think that's a very good question. And I almost want to ask you that question because you would know best about when is the right time. And I've learned over the years, you're constantly training the team on get an assistant as soon as it's time, which is right away, right? As soon as it's time you've got paperwork, stuff to do, like that stuff is wasting your time when you own a business, right? It's not, that's not what you want to be doing, is sitting there doing paperwork and calling product partners in the morning. That's not what you want to be doing, right? So yeah, I think that's a better question for you. What do you think about that?
Yeah, you nailed it. You know what I'm going to say.
Yeah.
You know this because I talk about it all the time. You need an assistant right away. Like right away. For everybody watching, maybe you've heard me say it 100 times. Maybe you've heard somebody else say it 100 times. Maybe you haven't heard any of your mentors say it at all, which is a shame. Glad you're here today. But when I wrote my first sale, my first piece of business, I think I made $120 on that sale. I spent $40 to have somebody do the paperwork. The fact that there's still people doing their own paperwork, reading their own emails, just doing admin stuff, it shackles you, it shackles people to their business. And if you're going to spend all day in the dark side of the business, which is the side that, my brain wants to run, I want to build, I want to create a business, I want to grow. And if I can't hand the other stuff off to a partner, and I'm working on both sides, my income is capped. It's not hard to get to 100, 150,000 a year as an entrepreneur. That's before expenses. People get, 150,000, so much money. Yeah. But as a business owner, you have expenses. So it's actually not that much money. But if you want to make like real money in business and you want to really scale, you can't afford not to have the person, and you have to be willing to invest from day one. I had a full-time assistant my third month in the business, and I've never looked back. And people say I can't afford it. You can't afford not to.
I think the difference between you and literally everybody else, most people, is that you had, or have rather, the vision. So I feel like people, when they have, or in this business, in many businesses, they work in the now. They're like, okay, I'm finding that I'm starting to get busy. Like I need some help. Okay, maybe now is the right time to look for an assistant. But I find with you are consistently, like, you are the master of having a vision to where you're going. And people lack that. So, and you can tell when you're asking people, what's your 5-year plan? What's your 10-year plan? They're like, I haven't thought that far. Man, you're building a life. And it's after, so I started with you. Yeah, we're going on 10 years. We just,
it's almost time for business Botox.
But even then, and this is actually what brought me, I think, to want to stay with you so long, is that you sold me the vision on where you were going and on what my role would be with you. You sold me that vision. So that's why I was like, you know what? I see somewhere here where I can grow. And Melissa would when she interviewed me, that's all she talked about. Like, this is where we're going. We need someone that's going to stay with us. Well, hang on. She's like, I promise, just hang on. And like, we promise we're going to take care of it, like stuff like that. And I'm like, geez, that sold me the vision. Whereas most people are like, yeah, I need an assistant. Are you willing to do some paperwork and learn how to do that?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, sure, I guess I want to make some extra cash. I'll do that. But guess what's going to happen? They're going to move on. They're going to find a better opportunity where that person has a vision for them, or the company is like, you know, you can grow here. Obviously they're going to leave. Yeah. And it made me work harder knowing that one day I was going to have a big role here. I was going to be, I'd get paid well. I'd, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So, and it's crazy because like people that know you or don't know you, like I know you really well, you're a busy person. Like you're always busy, even at home, on the weekends, at night. Like you take on so much, you're always doing stuff. So to keep you in one spot for 10 years, and I'm just thinking about this now. Literally, we didn't have not rehearsed this at all, but I'm just thinking like there must have been something to keep you excited and forward thinking, because it would, you know, and this happens as an entrepreneur. It's so easy to get bored. It's so easy to get stale. And there's been moments, we'll talk about those here coming up, but it'd be so easy to just pack it up but yeah, can you maybe talk a bit, just like people watching, about where do they start? How do they start selling that vision? What are some things that they can think about? Well,
first things first is they need to know where they're going, and they need to be confident about that. I feel like so many people are like, oh yeah, okay, I'll try out having a business, or oh yeah, okay, and maybe I can replace my income with it. I feel like people are just too casual when it comes to business. Like, are you planting your flag or are you not? And if you are, what is your vision for the future here? What kind of, you know, they gotta plan out the whole thing. What kind of income do you think you're gonna have one day? What kind of contract level are you going for? What kind of life do you want to have? I think that their vision is number one, because without that, how are you going to have a vision for an assistant?
Yeah.
So I think number one is figuring out the vision for themselves. And then, you know, an assistant is so important. You can't have a business without an assistant.
Yeah.
They do everything for you.
Yeah.
Right? So you can't get to that vision without them in it. So I think naturally when you create a vision of like what you want in business in your life, there needs to be a person that is going to be able to make, you know, fit into that puzzle and be able to help you get towards those goals. Because the reality is you can't do it on your own. There's no time.
No.
I even need an assistant.
Yeah, you
and
do.
I have an assistant.
You have an assistant. He's at home taking care of your child.
There you go. Yeah.
He's awesome. The thing too, like when we first hired you, like it doesn't seem much looking back, peanuts now compared to where we've evolved to, but like when we hired you again full time as we always did, like, you know, we were paying you more than we had ever paid a previous assistant. Now, again, looking back, it was peanuts to where we've come. But so the thing too with having a vision as an entrepreneur is you're always stretching. You always need to be stretching. You know, I see all the time entrepreneurs, they try and find these amazing people, and they're like, okay, so here's the deal. I'm going to hire you. You ready? 6 hours a week or as needed.
Yep.
Maybe 7. And, you know, subconsciously they're like, how little money will you tolerate to work for me? So they want to just pay in the least amount they possibly can get away with, the least amount of hours, and then they end up with these assistants that are good people, but sometimes these assistants end up working for 4, 5, 6 people.
Yeah.
And they're stretched super thin.
Totally.
My top priority, and anybody watching this, is if you find somebody who you gel with, you hire them full time. Well, I can't afford it. You can't afford not to. Go to work. Go put enough work on the books where you can pay somebody 40 hours a week, right? you're keeping the economy going. You're putting money in somebody's pocket. Because you pay somebody full time, their kids are, get to go to a certain type of school or eat a certain type of food. I always thought the more I could pay somebody, the more staff I could have, the more I'm doing my part for society. And yeah, in the beginning, you need to stretch a little bit. Sell them the dream. You're right. Sell them the dream. Where are you going? Bring them on full time. Pay them somewhere. Obviously, you have a negotiation, but pay them decent. And then go to frickin' work and make it worth it.
Well, if I had been working, if you guys offered me part-time, guess what? I would have had to have done. Probably work for other people in the office.
Don't talk like that.
Well, that's the reality of it though, right? Like I wouldn't have been able to afford to do a part-time job, and then I would have been distracted with other people, and I could have never filled that role that you were looking for, right? So yeah, it makes sense.
So the best time to have an assistant is now. Like if you have a business or you have a vision, you need help.
And it makes you work harder.
Yeah,
like,
it does
okay,
make
well,
you work
now
harder.
I got to pay this person. Like, I mean, this person's relying on me, so I got to get to work. And what are you doing in that time that your assistant is working? Are you just sitting there with your feet up on the desk and you're like, okay, I have an assistant now. What's on TV? I'm going to get on social media. I'm going to hang out. Or are you like, okay, it's time to grind it out. I got to pay this person. I gotta pay my family's bills. I got stuff to do, right? Like,
we ran into one of our senior leaders a while ago, and one of them made a comment to my wife and said, listen, one of my biggest regrets in my entire career is that we didn't have our person. We didn't have our person. Had we had that person, had we found our staff and built our staff and didn't try to do it all on ourselves, we'd be 10 times bigger, 10 times sooner. Why do you think people are so afraid to delegate? Why do you think they're so afraid to let go?
I mean, probably because we get a lot of people that weren't in business before. So a lot of these people have an employee mindset, and it's all just so new to them and maybe uncomfortable, and they haven't done the growth and development, haven't done personal development to get there mentally where they can be like, okay, I now have an assistant that I can delegate tasks to. Like maybe there's discomfort there, or then maybe there's possibly the unknowing of like, what can I delegate? What can I give this person? I think there needs to be like okay, what's going to make the business grow? What do I need to be doing? And what does my assistant need to be doing? I think maybe people don't really put that into place. And then it's kind of like uncertain, like things come up. Oh, maybe you can do this. Maybe you can do that. Like, what is the role? What's going to work best for your business? What's going to make you money and keep your assistant busy? And
don't you think too, there's an element of like dream selling to have an assistant? Like if you were looking at it from a client standpoint, or as in potentially joining my team, or like, isn't it more attractive to join somebody's organization who has an assistant so that like I was always told, your team is looking to you for the life that they want. Like we're so like, oh, I'm not where I want to be. I'm not where I want to be. But there's always somebody who wants your life. And my biggest fear was that people would see me and see how I'm running my business and go, I would never want his life. He's so bogged down in this and he's so stressed out about that. He has no time for his kids. He's running a small business and making relatively small money, doing it all himself. I don't want that.
Yeah, that's not selling me the dream.
No, it's not selling. No.
You're right. I don't think that sells anyone the dream.
Yeah.
I think that having an assistant is selling the dream.
Absolutely. Yeah. Having an assistant, delegating, because the goal is freedom, right?
Yeah.
And it's hard to get free when you're doing everything yourself.
It's impossible.
Yeah.
It's not hard. It's not possible.
Yeah. Let's talk about when you find that person now. How do you, this is gonna be a tough one. How do you navigate that relationship? Because, you're basically spending more time with this person than even your spouse.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times people look at us and they think that it's always just, everything's always great. There's no challenges, and maybe speak to that a little bit. Tell the truth.
The truth is there are challenges. It's not all whatever they say, daisies, and it's complicated. Yeah. It is complicated because it's true. There's a reason why people are like work wife, work husband, because it's true. You're spending so much time with this person. And when I started, we were sharing an office.
Those were the best days though.
You love saying that, but it was when we were struggling the most because we were like, am I going to strangle this person to death?
Okay. So I had a desk. We had a 10 by 12 office or 10 by 15 office. I had an oversized desk. I think I was overcompensating for lack of income. I had an oversized desk that had 2 chairs that were facing me for the clients. And then about 12 to 18 inches behind those chairs was Lexi's chair, and her desk was facing the other way. And so when I have 2 clients or 2 prospects sitting kind of facing me, Lexi was kind of sitting behind them facing her computer. And, I do my presentation hundreds of times and I'd make a joke and I could see her shoulders go. And she was laughing. Every once in a while, I'd ask a serious question. I'd pause. I'd put my pen down, wait for the response, and she would turn around and look at me like. I'd be like. Remember those days?
Of course, I remember those days. I must have like mentally blocked it out because I can't remember how long it lasted. Oh. How long did it last until I was like, if you don't get me an office, I might jump into traffic.
I mean, it felt like a few years.
It did feel that way, but I don't think it was.
No.
I don't think it was.
Maybe. At least a year.
So we spent so much time together. Like it was
crazy.
Nothing but staring at each other's faces all day for 8 hours straight. So, and back in the day it was more than 8 hours a day because it was, the base shop role. It was like, we were in
getting it off the ground.
It was the grind.
Yes.
It was like, we would see each other all the time. So it's not easy. It's not easy because you're basically in a relationship with somebody and you need to learn, just like with your spouse, what that person's love language is, how to properly communicate with them. Are there going to be fights? Yes.
And you should fight.
It's
like fight fair.
Or else if you're not fighting, it's like, or, obviously we now talk. We don't fight.
We don't slam doors anymore.
No.
Did we ever slam doors?
I slammed a door and I might have said something else like.
Was that when we were on a no sugar
yes,
challenge?
That was a no sugar challenge.
Okay.
We had the bright idea. That was early in the business too. That was when we were grinding it out, driving to Red Deer. Like it was a total freaking grind all the time. We had the bright idea to quit sugar. Steve's always like, what's the next challenge? What's the next thing? How do we get better? And I'm always getting dragged into it. I'm like, okay, let's do it. You want to do a challenge? We'll do a 30-day challenge. We'll do this. He wants to like shock the system. He wants to do something like real big. Well, what do we love? We love treats.
We love treats.
I love treats.
We love treats. Clear. We love treats. If anybody watching wants to send us a treat, milk chocolate.
You're not allowed. See, this is what you do. You're not allowed to do that. But then.
Okay, I'm off treats. I'm off treats. But send them anyway.
This is what happened. So, so we got off sugar and, it was hell. Like there's no other word for it. We were going into serious withdrawals. And we were just fighting left, right.
We were in crisis mode.
We were. We went to Tim Hortons and you asked for a no sugar donut. Remember that?
I did.
You're like, anything, just give me anything.
I did.
So naturally we would fight, obviously, but we've grown a lot from those days.
We fought, but like we also like, it's not like we didn't talk for a day. Like you showed up to work. Like it just arguments.
Yeah.
During the sugar challenge, we booked a trip to Saskatoon. And if any of you know me, you know that I get serious airport anxiety. If you're not on time, you're late. My wife knows that, you know what, when it's time to go to the gate, it's time to go to the gate. I want to get on the plane first. I want to get off first. People make fun of me all the time. It just is what it is. Remember you showed up like 5 minutes late for the meeting time at the airport?
Yeah. And in my mind, I'm like, I'm good. I'm going to
I know you felt
and
you were
I'll
good.
be okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You get through the gate, you do your thing. I'll meet you there at the gate. We'll be good. Man,
we weren't good.
I showed up and Steve was standing at the door with his super pissed off. You're late. I was like, oh, I'm sorry. Like, I didn't realize it had to be like a set time we were meeting. And now that we're traveling more, I've come to realize that this is a very serious problem Steve has.
It's a problem.
You have a serious problem. You might need to see a therapist about
if there's any watching, I'm open.
But my question is, what happens? You miss the flight? Is that your biggest fear? It's that you miss the flight, right?
In my worst nightmare, I miss a flight.
Okay.
Yeah, it's my worst nightmare.
But then what? You miss a flight and then you get the next flight? Kind of thing?
I have never thought that far. I don't even know. I don't even let you drive on your own. I pick you up on the way to the airport now, just to be sure.
Yep.
The whole thing, the whole airport thing, the getting in the line, the showing your papers.
It all gives you such severe
taking
anxiety.
Everything off, and then you go to at WestJet when they're about to board the plane, and they're looking for carry-on bags, and they're looking at you like you're a felon, you're a convicted felon. They just go from super friendly to, we're going to be sizing everybody's bags, and we see there's a lot of bags out there. We're going to size them all. And I'm thinking, I paid for this flight. I'm sitting up front. I'm in premium. And you're going to eyeball me to check my bag? I don't think so. So it's a battle. The whole airport, you get through security, they make you feel like a criminal. You get through customs, or they make you feel like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you're a convicted felon. And you finally get there. And now the baggage people that you paid to get on their plane are making you feel like a POS. And all they want to do is get on the damn plane.
You're killing me.
Or the worst case scenario is you get on like zone 2 or 3 and there's no overhead compartment. And now they want you to put the bag on your lap or under the seat.
Or check it.
Which
is the worst.
The worst.
You know what
I tell them? I said, I can't check my bag. I have medical devices in there.
Yeah.
And you know what? They can't ask you what kind of medical device.
Now
I researched
you all know.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things I'm trying to work through, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, now we don't struggle with that anymore.
Oh, because we communicated.
Because you picked me up.
Okay, I pick you up. And I communicated my feelings, right?
Yeah. So recently we were on a flight to maybe Toronto. I don't know. Anyway.
Was this Saskatoon trip?
Literally, he's on the
Another
phone.
one?
Okay. You're on the phone talking to somebody, and I can hear that person. Sounds like a serious conversation, like full conversation talking to you. And you're like, yeah. The intercom starts going off and you're like, Lexi. And I'm like trying to work on my computer. You're like, is that our flight? Yep. Yeah. Lexi, is that our flight? Did they say something about our flight? I'm like, calm.
I don't know what it is.
Our gate is literally, we are sitting at our gate.
I don't know what it is.
And there's a panic. It's like, anyway, so now I'm like, yep, just finish your call.
Yeah.
It's okay.
I should get you a service vest. Do not talk to me. I'm in service for my boss.
Yeah.
My calming goat. But you know what? We all have our things.
Yeah.
You learn to work together. You learn like
communication. It's communicating.
Yeah.
Now I'm not like in my head, why the hell is he like this? Now I'm like, why are you like this?
Kind of sounded the same.
And then but at least it's not to myself.
Oh, I see.
Keeping it in my head going, this freaking guy just pisses me off.
What a freak.
No, I'm
what
like,
a freak
you're
he is.
pissing me off.
Yeah.
Why are you like this?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, fair.
And I piss you off too. And that's a part of being in a, relationship like this. You're communicating consistently. There's a lot of you're doing everything together like that, traveling, like you're going to places together, you're going to get suit fittings together. Like there's a lot of situations that we're put in where we can argue about something. So there's communicating. That's how we now get through things. There's, we don't fight like we used to, but we haven't cut out sugar. So, I mean, maybe.
We're due for a sugar challenge if you're in. What are some qualities that you think are important in hiring somebody or looking for somebody to work for? What are some to build that kind of that bond and that camaraderie? Do you see any common qualities that you think are important?
Personality. Personality
Yeah.
for me is number one because
What do you mean by personality?
I am
Expand on that.
like I am an energy person. Okay. When someone is giving me good energy and they've got my energy up and we're just like flowing, you know how it is when you meet someone and you're like, they were freaking awesome. That's because the energy
You
was
love
good.
awesome people.
I love awesome people.
Like meet
you
somebody
hear it all the time. I'm like, she's the freaking best.
We'll literally meet somebody like at a bar in Nashville or anywhere.
Yeah.
And Lexi be like, he was such a cool dude. Like you love awesome people.
I do. I love good people. I love good people because it's so easy to be an a-hole these days.
It is easy to be an a-hole.
It's so easy
or an
to
energy
be like,
sucker.
Totally.
Like suck the life. Like,
totally.
Can you please stop sucking the life out of me? No, seriously. Can you stop sucking the life out of me? Like, did you make a decision this morning? You're going to suck the
you woke up
damn
and you were like,
life
you know
out
what?
of everybody.
Screw Steve, screw everybody. I'm going to ruin this day. I'm going to bring it all down with me. Yeah, it's true. People are people. I get it. I get the whole having a bad day, but you know what? I have bad days too, and I still put on a smile and no one can tell when they're having an interaction with me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, how's it going? Nice to see you. And it'll show in my eyes that I'm like, you know, this is awesome. I'm having a great interaction with you. And I'll walk away and I'm like, I'm having a bad day, which is, you know, I just have a hard time treating people badly. I don't know. Like, I don't understand how you can be, because we've had those negative. Don't forget about the moment I had in
Which moment?
department store.
Which one?
At, what's it called? You know, during COVID, the pandemic, when I walked in there and fought with somebody.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's
This is a PG show. I'm not going to tell him what you told that poor lady in the parking lot. Lex
not
almost
gonna do
beat
that.
somebody up at Lowe's parking lot. Was it Lowe's?
Yep, it was Lowe's.
Okay.
Oh, you remember it was Lowe's.
Oh, I remember. I was traumatized.
Yeah. So somebody, back to it, it's somebody that's got a good personality, somebody that, I'm not telling people to like shove your emotions down and kind of figure it out. But at the same time, I kind of am, because this is business. This is life. These are people we care about, that you care about. Why show up and be an a-hole to everybody?
Yeah.
That person had nothing to do with your situation on why you're having a bad day.
But it goes both ways.
Totally.
Like if you're a boss,
Yeah.
and again, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but if I'm a boss, it's as important that I show up the same way for you
Yeah.
as you do for me. It's a two-way street, because I see this the other way. I see sometimes in business, not just our business, in business, people, they find the person, they find their Lexi who has a personality, who, and I'll give you a compliment here. You show up for me the same way every day. Yeah. Some days are we coming off a big week and maybe we're tired, or stuff's going off at home, or, I mean, you know.
Steve doesn't like it when I'm tired.
Do I bring that up a lot? No, I'm just joking, but you were kidding. But you show up for me the same way every day. So why the hell can't I show up the same way every day? And I see these employers, they think just because they have an employee, they can show up however the hell they want. Good day, bad day, good day, bad day. And they can come and just browbeat or suck the life out of the room and not reciprocate. So I just want to mention it's both ways.
Yep. Agreed. So personality, to sum it up, is number one for me. And then second of all is somebody that is willing to grind. I just
talk to me about grind.
Got it in my blood. I've come from a very serious working father, sister, brother, mother. We are all hard workers. So
they are all
oh yeah,
ballers and grinders.
Yes. So it's just in my blood. Like from the moment I started working at 12 years old.
Wow.
Well, even before that.
Yeah.
Am I allowed to say that I was taking money under the table at hair salons? But
sure.
Like when I was 8 years old.
Yeah.
And I never stopped working again.
Yeah.
I never stopped working again in my life. From the moment I was 12 to now. Like, didn't matter if I was in school, didn't matter what I was doing, I was always working. So people can't really just have that. You know what I mean? Sometimes people are just more chill. They're just kind of like, you know, they're not really interested in big goals, and like they're just here to get the job done. Like I'm just here. But I feel like when it comes to having an assistant, because you can't be that person with you. That's not possible. You can't have an assistant that's just like, you know, just not really willing to.
Talk about me?
Not willing to grind. Yeah, like you wouldn't be able to have that.
No.
And most people in your position, exactly.
You got to keep up.
Exactly. And you, like, that's something that you expect from me too. Like, you want to see me grind. You want to see me like having goals for my life and fitness goals and you know, working hard because it feeds you. It feeds your energy.
Wow.
You're like,
that's an absolutely spot on observation. You know, I've never told you that out loud, those things. You just,
we know each other so well.
Yeah.
So I think that's important, because you can't just really be like, I'm going to hire you, but you need to be a freaking go-getter. You need to go and like grind. I want you working all the time. And like, obviously you don't expect that from someone, but that's something that a person I think has to have in that position, because it's important.
Yeah. Wow. That's so good. And you know, in the beginning, you probably felt this, and I maybe I went about it the wrong way at times if it offended you, but in the beginning, it's like, it's a test. Can you keep up? Are you willing to grind? Are you willing to hustle? Can you take a call at 8:00 at night?
Or 1 a.m?
Oh, did that happen? 1 a.m?
At an event. At an event.
At an event.
Yep.
That's fine. Right.
And I picked up. Yeah, it's fine. I mean, it's.
Or sometimes, I've never called you like 4 or 5 times in a row, have I?
You have called me like 14 times in a row once.
Wow.
Because you were looking for me.
Sounds important. but again, if you want to be, everybody's like, oh, I want to be a big shot. I want to build a big team. I want to have a big dream. I want to make the money, have all those things. But you gotta set the pace as the entrepreneur. And then you need to find the person who is willing to keep up. And you know, such a cool thing about you is that I never see you now as my employee. See you as like my business partner, or you found a way to make it your business within my business. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're driving your own things, you're taking responsibility for your own department, and you're really, and maybe that came with the whole vision thing we talked about earlier, but
it probably did. Yeah. Because you talked about like, look at it as if it's your own business.
I did say that.
You're like, I want you to be like an entrepreneur. I want you to look in terms, you know what I mean? In that way. And so I was like, okay, well, I can do that.
That's awesome.
But
so
I have the vision. You told me the vision.
So
That's why I do it.
Vision, communication, right personality, you know, maybe not hiring on the qualities that you think you need, but just really thinking about what's best for their organization on the people side. Yeah, the people part is so key. I would rather take somebody like you that has all that people skills and teach them the admin side. I mean, you do need people in your business, you know, over time that are good at specialty at the other side of
course.
It. But we're talking about your you know, your main assistant here.
Yeah, this specific role is more what I mean. But yeah, you've grown something so big at this point. Like, it's crazy. Just like you said, it would be one day. It's like it is a full on company. We've got full staff. We
prophesized over this, didn't we?
Yes. And there was a time where I did do it all in the beginning, but then you get so big that you need to have various people doing different things. And it's pretty incredible.
Anything else you want to add to that?
Nope, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think that sums that up.
That's awesome. So here we are. We just hit a big team promotion. Boom.
Massive.
You know, and you've been around now. You've seen some of these young guys come through the business, like the Burrs and the Gannies. You know, Burr started at 19 years old, and now he's married, 2 kids. He's one of the fastest growing teams in Canada. There's a lot of other people in our organization. There's some qualities internally in some of these winners that you see. Is there a pattern? You know, like, let's say that someone's watching this right now, and maybe kind of move beyond the administrator side, they want to be a winner. They want to be the next one. Maybe somebody within our own team that's watching this, they go, I want to be the next one. What are some of the qualities that you see?
The grind. They're hard workers or hustlers. You just mentioned two people, both Colton and Nabby. Those guys from the beginning, when I met them, you remember me telling you with Colton and Nabby, we got to go all in on these guys.
100% true.
Because I could just see it.
Yeah.
You can tell when someone here has it in them they're going to freaking do whatever it takes. Yeah. They're like, I'm here to win, and they're going to do whatever it takes. And they show that. It's one thing to say it, but to show it is a whole different thing.
So how did you know, because you have this intuition and you just call it, and you're so right about people. I don't know how early, I can't remember how early you called it with those two guys, but you've done it a dozen times. Now, it's not to say the people you didn't call had no shot. A lot of other people have emerged as well, but what did you look for? What is it?
Well, what did you look for? You have that too. You just explained the exact same thing. You have that too.
Yeah. I mean, is it the same thing? I
think it's the same. We just know, it's like
we both always know.
In there's just something different. You can see when someone's hungry.
Yeah.
And they're like, I'm going to just do whatever it takes, and ethically and morally, obviously.
Yeah. They're freaking hungry. That's what it is.
They're like, they'll get to freaking work.
They'll do whatever it takes. They'll do whatever it takes.
You can tell when someone's just saying it to say it, but you can tell when someone's different. And those guys were two perfect examples. I'm like, these kids and they were just kids starting in the business. And you just knew. And
from completely different backgrounds, brought up completely different way, different culture. Yeah. So notice how them being studs had nothing to do with how they were raised or looking for this pedigree or silver spoon, all this stuff. It was hungry, desire, committed. It's just grind.
The best word I have for it is a fire within them. There's just a fire within them that's just a beast waiting to just explode. You can just tell.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. I'm so excited for this team.
I know, me too.
I'm so fired up.
And the crazy thing is that we say this all the time. We still haven't found our top players. You think you have, and then someone else comes in and shows numbers you've never seen before. And we're like, okay, this was the next, top player, but there's always going to be someone else. And that's crazy.
Biggest players are yet to be built yet.
Yeah, for sure.
And we're just getting started.
And some of them are still within the team.
Some of them are on the team,
here,
but
and
haven't
they're just
sprouted.
not. Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy.
So exciting. That's great. Well, I appreciate you being here.
Great, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Was that all of our topics for the day?
Yeah, I think we covered it all. Anything you want to add? Any stories you want to throw in? Anything that you think would be relevant to this? Red deer. You know what? No.
Another time.
We'll talk about red deer next time. That's the hook for the next.
You're not going to want to miss this one.
No. We should do this again. This is so fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, this has been cool. It's you guys just keep watching this journey and keep watching this team unfold. And, Lexi has so much knowledge and so much wisdom, and she's very intuitive, and, she's forgotten more about this business than most leaders will ever know. That's how much she knows. She just think about this. She's sat in on thousands of my meetings. She's conversations, all the emails, right? She knows what it takes to build leaders. She knows the grind. She understands what it takes. Everybody wants to come to me all the time or leaders in the business and pick their brain. But when I need a second opinion about something, I'm going to this gal right here because she knows what she's doing.
Thank you.
Tell them about your mug.
Well, let's talk more about your blue hands. I think we got to address it. We have to address it.
The elephant in the room. So I don't know if you can pick this up on camera, but my hands are blue.
I almost spit my coffee.
I look like a Smurf.
It's very clear.
Look like a Smurf.
Let's see the other side.
So why do you tell them what happened with my hands?
Well, I'm like, why are your hands so dirty? We're about to start the podcast. I'm like, Steve, what happened to your hands? I'm like, was he outside, like touching the dirt? What's going on?
And I've washed them like
you're
5
wearing
times.
brand new blue
jeans.
jeans, and you just keep rubbing your hand on them, and now they're even bluer than they were before.
So I buy a new pair of jeans once a decade, and I finally buy a pair of jeans, and yeah, my hands are a little.
The outcome.
But I am sitting on a towel here, so nothing is getting on this couch. But thanks for letting everybody know.
You're welcome. The towel that we hid so that people couldn't see it, that you
Now
just brought up.
And now they know about
knows.
it. Now they know about it. So maybe we'll cut that out. Maybe we'll leave it in. But
No, I think it's great.
I think it's great. Okay, Lexi.
All right.
Well, what do we got coming up? We got Arizona coming up.
Yeah.
Massive U.S. expansion. All 50 states. We're going to be in all 50 states in a couple years. It's going to be huge. Then we got Vegas.
Yep.
Big Vegas party. New senior broker party in Vegas.
Yep.
Then we got some golf tournament
Takeover.
stuff. Then we have our East event,
golf
East Takeover in October. We're doing a big East event in October. And then we're going to Costa Rica in January. And then we have our big annual event coming up in February next year. We're already working on. So
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah.
A lot all the time. That's the business now.
Big things coming, you guys. Yes. And again, just to kind of put a wrap on today, it's so important that you get to work and you find somebody inside your business that can help you. Find somebody that cares as much about your business as you do. And when you find that person, you got to hang on. You got to treat them well. You got to bring them a part of the vision and do all the things we talked about today. And that's one of the secrets to building a big team is having that. So Lexi, I really appreciate this.
Great.
I know it's hard to get you on here with your busy schedule, but
yeah. Thank you, Steve. Yeah. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, today was fun.
I'll be back.
You will be back. All right, you guys, have an awesome day. Hope you enjoyed today's episode. I'd love to hear in the comments what your takeaway was. I would share this with your team, watch it over again, and looking forward to the next one. So we'll see you guys soon. Thanks, everybody.
Bye, guys.